it is morning here in Sweden, and I know what date it is because it's May 3rd, 2022. Why I know what date it is today is because I'm going to the hospital today, so I need to know it. But it will be in the afternoon, after lunch somewhere there. I take my scooter to drive to the hospital. It take about half hour or 40 minutes to the hospital in one round. It's not. It will be over 1 hour to go there and come back with a scooter. Now I have got the scooter when a car drive over me, and I had already asked to get a scooter because I was walking very bad, and sometimes I get swollen legs, so I hardly could walk, and that's why I asked for a scooter. Instead of walking, have a scooter to drive. It's not a wheelchair. It's a scooter. So I'm glad that I got a scooter, not a wheelchair. And so I am going there, and it's I have to wear a mask today when I'm coming to the hospital. When I arrive to the hospital, I have to wear a mask because I don't have the vaccine in me, and it's because my doctor have told me that I should not take the vaccine because I have so much inflammation inside my body, and that inflammation it started when I was in Africa in 2013. I was in Africa, and I'm so thankful for God not to protect me in Africa so I didn't go sick there. Then I should not sit here if I have got sick. I was up almost to the Uganda border in Kenya, in a city named Kitale, but I was out in the forest, and we didn't have any car there. So if I was sick, should go sick, we have not could come to the hospital so very fast. No ambulance or nothing out, and it could have happened that I go very sick. But I was there. I come back in November, and then just before Christmas time, I was going in the basement of the house where I lived, and I should wash clothes, and when I go down there, I couldn't take in the key in the door. I was shaking so very much, so it was very hard to open the door. So I knew it was something wrong, why I was so shaking. But I could take the clothes with me up to the apartment, and then I called the ambulance, and they took me to the hospital, and I was laying there in the hospital, and I go worse and worse. This is the area at the hospital we have where I laying. It's very evil. It's the devil's area. So it's like the devil wanted me to be killed, to die at the hospital, because nothing helped on me, and I have very much pain because I have this fever and inflammation in my left leg, and the skin was going off on from the knee down under my foot. It was no skin there, and they forced me to walk on that bad foot to the toilet, because no one wanted to give me, so I could do my things in the bed and not walk on this very bad inflammation. And they gave me some those aspirin things that is for a headache, like that, for the pain, and that doesn't help at all. It was like walking on fire, inside a fire, when I walk on it. And in Christmas, we celebrate Christmas December 24, and that was the night I should die, and the nurse and the doctors didn't want to go into my room, because they were waiting for me to die. And then it was in December 20. It was December 23, and then I wake up in the night, 3 o'clock in the night, and I have always the radio on, and I wake up because of my head speakers was falling down on me and hit my skull, and I wake up, and then on the radio they say, because it was Christmas, and they were screaming at in the radio that Happy Christmas. They were screaming just when I wake up, and then I couldn't have been hit of the head speakers, because I have hanged them far away from me, so that was the meaning, that I should not hit them and take them down. They only was like a loudspeaker for me hanging, so I could listen at the music in the radio, and I wake up, and I was I was so very sick, and I was thinking that my brain is going to burn up. I am going not to know anything because the brain is hit of this inflammation, and and I wake up, and in the room there was 4 angels. They were very high. It was like 2 meters high. What it is in inch, it's over 6, like a basket player, those tallest ones. That size was the angels, and the angels was not in color. They were in a gray scale, but there was one angel in each corner, so it was 4 angels. And then I fall to sleep again, and I knew that it was my mother that come and helped me. My mother had passed away for a long time ago, and when my mother died, it was 3 minutes past 3 in the night. She died, and on the radio they were screaming, "Happy Christmas!" And then I suppose it had been news or something, because they say like when they come back after screaming, and they say the time is 3 minutes past 3, they say. And then I knew, without knowing what I know today, but I knew it was my mother that had coming through and have helped me. And in the morning, the nurse come in and look at me like, hide a little, be very careful to not knowing what she is going to see in my bed. And I was awake, and I saw her, and she be very surprised that I was still alive. And when she took the test, I didn't have any fever anymore. The fever was down immediately when the angels was in the room. So they come to my help. And that was the start of that my brain had been hit of the devil, because I have had many inflammation since then. I've been in the ambulance going to the hospital with sepsis. Sepsis is that you have poison in your blood. That's sepsis, if you didn't understood the word. But that is inflammation in the blood, and that I have had many times. So I started to get psoriasis all over my body, and it was in my face also, and people didn't want to sit with me on the bus because they were scared of what they saw on my skin. And then I was to the hospital. They thought I had not treated me correctly, so they wanted to see if they treat me correctly, then I should the psoriasis should go away from my skin. And I should lay there 1 week in the hospital. And when I come into the hospital and sit and wait for the nurse to make a bed for me to be in, I sit there in the living room, a room for everyone to meet. And when I come in there, it was a young woman that come to me, and she said, "I'm going to die." She said to me, she didn't know me. I don't know why she walked to me. That was a stranger for her. But she went to me, and I know that God have led her to me. And she didn't know why she said that to me, if I should have asked her. And immediately I went up and lay hand on her, and it was very people that was around. They say, "We thought you should die," because it was so much to heal in this young woman. And then when I have done it, it come a nurse, and she say that you are not allowed to do such things inside the hospital area. We are talking about Sweden, that is not much into God, this country. So I know in many countries that you can lay a hand, and they want you to lay a hand to help people that are sick and people that is going to be in the surgery. The doctors do it together. So that is pretty unique in that Sweden don't allow a person to lay hand on another person when they are sick. And so the nurse say that to me, and she told the doctor what I have done. So she say that you are not going to stay here, you will be kicked out. But I have told you this, that God can use the devil. She belonged to the devil, this nurse. She didn't need to say anything, only let it go. But she said that to me, and then she told the doctor. And then in the afternoon, when this young woman did her test about what's going on in her body, she was healed. She come to me and say that, very happy. I am not going to die. I am healed, she say. But of course she didn't. She didn't know God, but she saw that what I did, so she know I was healing her. And in the morning I was sleeping in the hospital, and then in the morning the doctor come, and he shake my feet and say, we are going to help you. He said, we are going to give you a medicine that will help you. And that was a medicine I have asked the doctor for 9 years to get, because I knew that this medicine, like a miracle medicine, because it was a woman in her 40s that come to me to buy a kitten, and she told me that she had got the medicine, and she was could work and she was okay to. And she said, you should ask for that medicine for your psoriasis, she said to me. And she gave me a paper with a name on it. So I asked the doctor, but I was already retired because I was sick. So they didn't want to give me because it's very expensive medicine. But this woman, she was in her 40s, so she was still working age. I was in a working age, but very close to retirement. So I was not. That's what we have in Sweden. We have free doctors and almost free doctor and almost free medicine. But that make it also that we can't ask for medicine. It's up to the doctor to give us medicine, whatever they feel. If we have a quality of life, they judge us with how you look like, what age you are. And I always have say to the doctor, because I know this, I say that I have just been a grandmother, and so I want to live for my grandkids. I have always say that to new doctors, and so that's make it quality. I can't say that I am a worker under God, because people don't believe, and most doctors and nurses today is mostly Muslims, so they are thinking that I'm talking about Jesus as God, as a Christian. So that will be the opposite to say quality. Then I don't have any quality. That what I'm doing today. I got that medicine in 2015 and have every 3 months I have to go and get a shot, injection of this medicine, and that's what I do today. And if I have not got that medicine, I have not lived today. So that was the meaning from God to help me, that make me continue to live. I have got many people that have lay hand on me, but they have never healed me. And God knows that there is not much of healing from people today. They only tell that they can heal people, but that is mostly is it the devil, that because the devil can heal you, and he can heal you for a short time, for to show up, tell people to come to that church that he hold. The devil hold that church, and when he lay hand on you and you be healed, is because he wants people to come, more people come to that church where he is in the pulpit, and for a short time he heal you. But if you ask those people that have so-called be healed after 2-3 months, they are not healed anymore. And that's what they work on, those preachers that that say that they can heal people. They can heal it for a short time. I know it because I was in the newspaper about that I have the gift of healing, and there come people to me, some people. I thought it should be many, but this is Sweden, so it come about 10 people, one by one, and they told me that they have been to healer, and the longest I heard that they have been healed, it was 1 year. Less than 1 year was more common, and they say that it's gone worse when you first you be healed and then it's coming back and it's going so very bad. What you had be double worse when this healing from the devil have going out. And my longest healing that I know about, it was my past boyfriend in United States, and I was with him in 2002, 2003, and I lay hand on him when he said that he had a cancer in his brain, and they have open on his skull to look inside how bad it was with the cancer. So it was not a lie, because I saw the wound from the test they did on him, and that the cancer was so bad, so it could, if they tried to take that away, he could be paralyzed or be killed. It was no option to do on him, and he was crying when he told me what the doctor had told him. And I say, that's the doctor that have said that to you, but God have not say that. So I lay hand on him, and he was he died. He died in I think it was 2020, just before COVID come, and and he died of cancer. So that cancer didn't come and kill him for 17 years, and he was a very bad man, so he never turned to God, and he did drugs and was drinking and stealing and lying, and very bad man, and he didn't repent after being healed. So he make his own faith in that way. If he have been closer to me, I was waiting for him to come to Sweden and be together with me, but he never come. I was waiting for him to come, and if I had done that, I am very sure that he have lived today. But he didn't. He didn't hear God telling him to come to me. And God said to me that I was not allowed to go back to United States to be with him. God said to me that he must come to you, he said. So that was a test on him, and he didn't pass it. And he was 8 years younger than me, so he could have been working here in Sweden and been okay. But this, I had other things to talk about. I want to tell something nice that I got a DNA match, this empty DNA on my mother's line age that is a royal lineage, and it's nice because you I have listener in Ireland, and I would tell you that this was a DNA match from Bailey Castle in Mayo County in Ireland. Is northwest somewhere there. That I have one of the family that is from there. Their last name is Burke, 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 and but they moved to Michigan in the United States, but that was not so long time ago they did it. So I have lots of ancestors and cousins in Ireland and the whole England, of course, because it's my mother's lineage go into the royal family in England, and then of course everywhere in Europe. But the word I want to talk about is sacrifice. What is sacrifice? Sacrifice is to give everything to God. To not to give like your money to God. That's not God is not about money. He have all the money in the world, so he don't need that. The sacrifice is to do everything that is in God's will. I have talking about it so many times now, and I hope you understand it. It's not about you, it's about God. And it's wrong this that I say Jesus sacrificed himself for us and in God's will, but that is a little error in it, because the last evening night Jesus was with his disciple, and Jesus said to them in Gethsemane that they should wait for him because he needed to go and pray and talk to God, he said to wait for him, but the disciple fall to sleep, and that is symbolic that they don't really was awake about what happened, and but one was witness to it, and I'm not good in the Bible, so I don't know who wrote it, but when Jesus was praying to God, he asked God to take away his cup, to make what was going to happen to not happen. So Jesus, he didn't sacrifice himself in that way, because then he should not ask God to take him away from the cross, to not let him be on the cross. But he was so scared about what should happen, and of course all of us should be scared to what to be killed in that way. And so that witness that saw him praying, it was like the sweat was like blood. And so Jesus was not sacrificed really. In that moment he was a human. He was a man of God, but he was not the Son of God. He was a human. He was scared like everyone else should have been. And so he wanted to go away from it. So that sacrifice was not a sacrifice. But of course we love Jesus anyway, over what he did and not did. Because he was a messenger for God to us, to all of us. And he is in Quran. Muslim have him as a prophet, and that's what Jesus is. He was a prophet. He heard from God and talked about God's kingdom and told what God wanted us to be and act and this. And for me is it that I try to do what Jesus did. In his like his character, how he was, how he lived his life. So I follow Jesus in that way, that I follow him in what he was saying and doing, and not what that he was a son of God, because we all are brothers and sisters, and we are children of God, even if we are in the devil's prison. We are still God's children. It can't be walk away from it. Like Jesus, it's a spirit here coming now and confirm what I'm saying, going to say. It's always they know what I'm going to say. They can read my mind and don't need my mouth to tell. So that it was this that Jesus tried to walk away from his destiny. But what is placed, the Spirit is very hard on me here now, because this is what the Spirit wants me to talk about, that what is already placed, there is a plan God has for every one of us. We are, the Spirit is very much now, because this is so very important for you to understand, that we all come from heaven. We didn't come from the devil. We didn't come from the devil. We all was created in God's image before we come to earth. So when we come to earth, we born, and we come to different families, to different environment, and when we come down, we were like open books. We empty vessel to place in things in, and that's what the devil is going for, and we know it better today because of what have happened in the world in close time, in this time, and that the devil is going for the children. He's going for the newborn children and until about after teen, then he have placed into people his own mind and his own children, and he changed them to be of him, but no one is born out of the devil. Everyone is in God's creation, and God have all the control, and he know that some will be really evil people, but that what I say earlier, that God can use the devil for what he want it to be, and those evil people are tools to test people here on earth. What are you doing when you see someone suffering? And what mostly people do is to give money. It's only money, money, money. They think money solves everything. And I can tell that when I was homeless and I had not $1 get from United States. I didn't get any money from Sweden. I didn't get any money from anyone. But that was not my main need. That was not my main need. My main need was to be in a safe place, to have a room, a bed somewhere, not in a shelter, but that someone saw my need and told me that someone that was of God, not of. I had some beds in private home, but that was the devil that took me in. Those pastors in the church, sometimes they say, Eva, she need somewhere to stay, to sleep. Is there anyone that have a bed for her? And of course, the devil's children is in the church. So the devil's child come forward and say, she can sleep in my home. I have a bed for her. I have a room for her. And then I go into the devil's home and close to be killed and have threat on me and be very bad treated. So that pastor that say this, that is it anyone that have a room, a bed for Eva? That pastor didn't pass the test. That God gave him a test. And what did he do? He denied it. He didn't want to touch it. He didn't want to help me. He said that someone else should help me. So it was not about money. My main thing was I needed to have a bed in a safe environment, and the shelter is not a safe place, because there is many mental sick people, and then they seldom test people if they have drugs in them. They know when they're drinking alcohol because you can smell it, but drugs you can't smell. So it's a crazy world to be in a shelter, and so that's not a safe place. What I was asking for to inside the church was a safe place in a home where God is, but they always gave me away to the devil, and it had nothing with money to do. And the second main need I had, it was that someone could sit down and listen to my story, and no one asked me where I come from. They ask me, and I say I'm from Sweden sometimes, but then they don't ask anymore anything, because they didn't know anything about Sweden, so they didn't want to learn, and they didn't want to know that I come because God said that, took me out from Sweden and to go into United States to test people, and I test very much in United States. I walk around maybe 3 churches per day at least, and ask for help. 3 different churches every day. I walk and walk. I walk from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening, and then hope to have a bed in a shelter somewhere. And I had. So that's it's. It was. Maybe it was more I wanted to say about sacrifice, but I can say that in another episode. I wanted only to start your mind about it, that if do you sacrifice yourself in God's will? You can ask that to yourself now. That's what I want your mind to be focus on and think about it. Do you really sacrifice yourself to God? Do you place God in the first place in everything you do? So thank you for have listened. It's become a long episode again, but you don't need to listen at it immediately. So one time when you have time to listen at me, it doesn't matter, because my podcast is about things that can be told anytime. So it doesn't matter if this episode is going to be listened at after 2 years. It's the same message. So God bless you.